Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome, all you weirdos, readers who like stories where they all die at the end, and everyone who's ever had a negative thought about Dougie. It is time to receive your landmark 180th Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your Punisher-trained host, Jason, broadcasting to you as always from the Wrong Turn studio, perched high atop stately Weird Science Manor. And joining me from a town where rats are literally coming up through the toilets, it's my pal Ruben. Hey, Ruben, how the heck are you? I saw that news story about...
yeah, it was like your deep cut. Yeah, I still don't believe it, but I have been a guy who always puts the toilet lid seat down anyways, just by default. So
it sounds like a story you'd tell your kids to scare them into putting the toilet seat down, but I guess with the floods they're getting in through is terrifying. Did you read the instructions, what you're supposed to do if you see a rat in your toilet?
No. What do
Apparently,
I do?
this is like the official PSA.
Do you scream like a little baby? Because that's probably what I
think
would
that's
do.
implied, yeah. But after you, that's like step zero.
Okay.
Step zero, to scream and kind of do a little dance. Step one is flush the toilet, which, okay, naturally enough. And step two is if that doesn't work, you calmly go and get some dish soap from the kitchen, squirt that in the toilet, and then flush again. So
the goal is to get it out back through the toilet.
Exactly.
Interesting.
I suppose there's other ways of just like pulling it out of the toilet, but yeah, I would not be interested in that method either. So
yeah.
So people think that these comic book podcasts are just a waste of time. You've all learned something.
The flooding is interesting.
Giving you some nightmares as well, so that's good.
Yeah, the flooding situation is interesting because my little neck of the woods has been pretty safe.
Okay.
Because of the way the mountains are.
Oh, not talking rats. You mean the actual floods?
Yeah, no, the actual flooding has not affected like Seattle proper, but all the areas surrounding it are just really wrecked, like shockingly wrecked. I have a coworker who like bought a summer home like maybe 6 months ago, very happy and excited, and her house is like underwater. It's like so bad. It's kind of like I hope you have insurance on that because the ground floor is completely waterlogged at this point. All their electronics in the basement just completely wrecked, but
yikes,
it's nasty. Yeah, like in a lot of places, they're evacuating a lot of the cities that are around here.
Oh, so good luck to all you people in the Pacific Northwest, Greater Seattle area, and stay safe from those toilet rats.
Yeah, we have windstorms. I don't know if that means we get flying rats, but in my area, we're expecting like a 50-mile-an-hour wind tomorrow, which I think is like almost hurricane strength.
Well, good luck with that. And Ruben, I don't know if you're aware, but you and we got our annual performance review this week from Weird Science Corporate.
Oh, God, did we?
We did. Now, for context, this was last year's performance review.
I like it, though. I listen to it every week. Not
bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty good. We'll take that. This year, though, I think we've maybe rested on our laurels a little bit because this is what I got.
Ruben and Jason. They'll like it. They like everything. They're like Mikey, for crying out loud.
They really do.
I don't think they actually listen anymore because I take offense to that insinuation. I don't feel like we like everything. I do think we like some things that very much stick in Jim's craw.
Probably.
We gave, if they were listening to last episode, I feel like we gave a lot of 3s and 5s. So
I think we've been quite fair. I do have a spreadsheet. I know you're all shocked out there that I have a spreadsheet, and at least my long-term, I don't write down your scores. I don't keep track of those. I figure you got your own spreadsheet.
No, I don't.
My spreadsheet, since the start of From the Ashes, my average is 6.5.
Yeah.
Which I think is, about where it should be. That's about where the books have been. Just kind of okay, with some up in the 8s and some down in the 3s. Now, I think, Ruben, you and I, we look for the positive more than maybe some other shows do. Like, we try to find, even in a bad book, we try to find, well, here's something good about it. Here's, some people might like it because of that. I mean, we don't always find it, but we do look like hell.
And I know that Jim hates cosmic crap, and
he does.
I do enjoy cosmic stuff as long as the continuity is tight and consistent. That it could be like goofball, weird sci-fi stuff, and I'll be into it.
And also, not to call Jim out on his memory, he's at least as old as I am, so I know that he should remember this, but he talked about Mikey in that clip, and Mikey did not like everything. That's exactly the opposite. Here's Mikey.
Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything.
Yeah, Mikey hated everything, which was why it was so great for the commercial. Oh, Mikey actually likes the Life cereal being advertised. Yeah. So Mikey did not like everything. So, Jim, you got to look that up. We expect better from you. Okay, so that moving on, Ruben, I think we can put that aside. Here are some books that we'll try to find positives in this week. Maybe we should chop a couple points off of each score just to be safe. We'll see. We're recording on Christmas Eve, and this is the antepenultimate week of the Age of Revelation. And the books we are discussing are X-Men Book of Revelation, number 3, Omega Kids, number 3, Rogue Storm, number 3, The Last Wolverine, number 3, and Radioactive Spider-Man, number 3. 2 other books that came out this week that we won't really be talking about. It's kind of a big week. Black Panther Intergalactic. I don't have that sound clip, unfortunately. Did you read Black Panther Intergalactic?
Not yet. I'm waiting for that to hit the app.
It was all right. It did deal with that weird dad kid who has something that they weren't telling us going on in that one shot. Yeah. So it does tie them in.
Is he related to Killmonger?
I did not see any relation to Killmonger.
Okay.
There's something going on cosmic-y, but
it's not explained. It's just still alluded at.
There is some explanation going on. It's not fully explained, but we do get some stuff.
Yeah. I look forward to reading it. I definitely look forward to reading it, but I told my wife I would stop spending as much on comics, so I'm tightening the belt for 2 months. 2 months until it starts to slip again.
Yeah, just like I said, I wasn't buying any more tea. Another tea shipment arrived like 2 days ago. So
yeah. Mostly it's because I bought every single one of these damn Age of Revelation books, and so I just need to wait. I just need to wait for that to fall off. Yeah, once that falls off the radar, then I can go back to getting individual books.
And I haven't read Planet She-Hulk number 2. The number 1 issue was pretty good. And X-Dan in the Marvel Slack said that he likes it a lot, or kind of a lot. So
yeah, I'm really confused by that, given how much I disliked the tie-in. You having read the first issue, what about this is better than the tie-in?
Well, it was similar. It was still kind of jokey. It was still She-Hulk on Planet Sakaar, kind of dealing with the wacky aliens in a wacky murder mystery kind of fashion. And it's not my cup of tea, but I can see why people who like She-Hulk would like this She-Hulk. It is definitely more of a Marvel She-Hulk than the previous version of She-Hulk, the Rainbow Rowell stuff that was very shoujo slice of life romance. This is She-Hulk, kicking ass. So that's something. I haven't read it. You haven't read issue 2 yet, but I'll be checking it out sometime over this Christmas break. Okay, so let's get on to our first book of the week, which is, as usual, the Infinity comic. I think that's probably also where we got marked down, Ruben, because we cover the Infinity comics, which I'm told are nonsense. But this is X-Men Age of Revelation Infinity Comic, Chapter 8, The Underground Man, Part 2, written by Alex Packnadel, art by Eduardo Ordino. Now, both Packnadel and Ordino have confirmed on Twitter that once this Infinity comic is done, once this Age of Revelation bit is over, they are done with Infinity Comics, at least for now. So expect a new team, probably a new direction. I expect we'll still be getting X-Men Infinity Comics when we get back to the regular continuity, but it won't be these folks. Colors are by KJ Diaz and letters by Clayton Coles. I'm guessing Clayton Coles is going to keep lettering these things. He letters everything. We are still quite early in the Age of Revelation here. When we left off last chapter, Glob had run away from Camp Dougie and had just been found by the Punisher. Now, I don't know about you, Ruben, but I was expecting basically your standard training arc this chapter. which we do get, but we get some other things as well.
Yeah.
We get the Punisher's backstory, and as we figured, he was mutated by the X virus. His hands went all tentacly, but not in a useful way. Maybe in a sexy way. I don't know if you're into that. But he can't shoot his guns anymore. And if you can't shoot your guns, how can you be the Punisher? So he's
I'm gonna question that, because that left hand doesn't look that mutated. It's like he lost a finger, and I feel like he could hold a gun with that hand.
You'd think he'd manage. You'd think that the Punisher would figure out a way to use his toes or whatever, right? It's his whole thing.
Or he'd come up with some Deadshot stuff, right? Like the gauntlet guns. He could do that.
He kind of seems to give up a little easy for the actual Punisher, and not that second, loser Punisher. This is Frank Castle Punisher.
Yeah.
But what we're told is that he was basically associated with those Morlock types from the last chapter, but he left before Doug went and babbled all of those losers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're introduced to another character, Chase Stein. You a big fan of Chase Stein? Do you have his collector's card and play him in Rivals or something?
No. Speaking of which, though, I am very excited. I'm going to get a chance to play Rivals. I finally got a PlayStation 5.
Oh, nice.
So I have not plugged it in, and I don't have the cables to connect it to the TV screen, but I expect to, by the new year, have a chance to play Rivals and get smoked by 12-year-olds.
Who'll probably call you racial slurs in the chat. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, for sure that'll be happening.
I started messing around with it's GeForce Now, which is the game streaming that you can stream to like your little streaming box or your Chromebook, or whatever. So I may mess around with that.
Cool.
But Chase Stein is a pre-existing character from Brian K. Vaughan's Runaways, from the first volume, the only good volume of Runaways ever written.
Yeah, I should get into that and read that. Because I like Stein. He's a good writer.
Vaughn, you mean? Yeah.
Or Vaughn, yeah. Sorry.
I knew what you meant, yeah. Yeah, the first volume of that was really good. These following volumes by other writers never really worked for me, but first volume is good.
Yeah.
So Chase Stein, not to give away the ending of one of the most famous comics of the last, 35 years, but all the kids in Runaways, their parents are some variety of supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
And his parents were evil scientists working for cosmic, evil, nasty aliens.
Yep.
In this, we're told that Chase Stein caught the X virus, and he got hit even worse than the Punisher. He's like an inside-out goo monster who lives stuck to the inside walls of the Punisher's barn, which not a great existence. And now it's Glob's job to feed him. Glob always seems to get the making food jobs, and I guess he's good at it. And presumably Chase is going to play some part in the third and, I'm guessing, final chapter of the story, because he doesn't do much here. And I don't think he's just here to fill page space. He's got to have another shoe to drop. And then, finally, we do get a training arc with Glob asking Frank to teach him how to shoot all them guns there on the wall, for self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
And Glob, eventually, time passes, he gets pretty good at shooting all them guns there on the wall. And at the end of the chapter, Glob steals all them guns from off that wall and runs off to take revenge on Dougie, which the Punisher, who is the Marvel master of revenge, never saw coming. So that was a little silly. I think the Punisher is kind of a little wimpy in this version, right?
Yeah.
I want to see the Punisher fighting more. I want to see the Punisher continuing to be Frank frickin' Castle. Other than that, though, I thought it was a really good chapter. I'm enjoying how Glob is working here. I'm happy that it wasn't just a training arc, and we kind of know how this is going to work out because we've seen Glob with the X-Men in the main books, but I'm still really enjoying this little arc of the Infinity comic. How about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it enough. I was curious who Frank was talking to on this little CB when he's talking about running missions to some border. Seems like there's a little bit more going on there.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe it'll be some of the characters from the X-Men book. I don't know. Maybe it's like Cyclops in this continuity, not the one from the past.
I see he was running stuff for them. I could see that. Yeah, that'd be good. And then maybe that's how he finally gets connected with them.
I like it. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I probably like that better than what's going to happen. So let's do that. Okay, moving on. Our first actual on-paper book of the week is X-Men Book of Revelation, number 3 of 3, written by Jed MacKay, who's running this whole show, pencils by Netho Diaz, inks by Sean Parsons and J.P. Mayer, colors by Fer Cifuentes Sujo, letters, once again, by Clayton Coles. Now, this is another final issue that isn't really a final issue, because just like Amazing X-Men number 3, its final panel leads directly into this event's true finale, the aptly named X-Men Age of Revelation finale. But it's still all right. Not great, not earth-shattering, but all right.
Yeah.
Because really the peak, the climax of this story was last issue when we found out who Elbecca really was. Once that secret is out of the bag, there's not a whole lot else to do. Because she is, of course, actually a secret Iraqi sleeper agent. So, Ruben, do you think that her getting tossed off the roof of a skyscraper by another chorister, do you think that was part of Elbecca's secret plan the whole time?
No, I don't think so at all.
No, I think she just got really lucky.
Yeah.
And Kitty Pryde unknowingly saved the day by saving that innocent little kid.
Innocent, quote unquote. I don't think she's all that innocent.
Oh, no. They
She's
were
a little
definitely quotes about
psychopath.
that.
She is a big psychopath.
Yeah, we a couple of psychopathic little kids are going to deal with this week. And did you notice that Kitty Pryde doesn't appear in this issue at all, other than on the cover?
Yeah.
Which I'm going to give Marvel credit for this. I'm going to say that this was an intentional misdirect, that they have to publish the covers and the solicits way early, and they kept the focus on the Ghost of Philadelphia, who we all kind of knew up front was going to be Kitty, and that let them not have to, give the game away about Elbecca. So I'm fine with that. Now, Kitty's still around, but I guess she's stuck in ghostly form, and she must be watching what's happening. Maybe she'll show up in the finale. Yeah. It seems like a lot of characters, so I didn't think we're going to show up in the finale, are going to show up in the finale, but we'll argue about that later. We start this issue with a quick flashback. We're on Arakko in the Autumn Palace. Apocalypse is on his throne, flanked by the Horseman Death and Charles Xavier. Now, I was confused at first because the guy who was next to Apocalypse clearly had hair. It looked like this patch of hair all combed forward. But
it's just some weird shading.
It's just some weird shadow. It's the camera point of view. It's a worm's eye view looking up from the floor, and the shadows are funny. So it's just Charles with a weird shadow on his head.
Yeah.
Now, Apocalypse has called one of his subjects to him, and this is an Iraqi child named Virta the Subtle. Now, subtlety is not a big thing in Arakko. They're a straightforward kind of people. But right now, what Apocalypse needs is subtlety. And so, Virta the Subtle is going to become Elbecca Voss. We don't really find out how Virta gets to Earth, how her fake village is created, none of that. But that's fine. We know enough. We can imagine the rest if we want to. It's only 3 issues. Go ahead.
Did you get a sense of what makes her the Subtle? I didn't quite understand that title, other than she was just given that title and she's small and diminutive. Is that just it?
Well, we don't see what she does on Arakko, but we do see that when she gets to Earth, she doesn't immediately stand up in front of Doug and say, "I'm Virta the Subtle and I'm going to kill you."
Yeah,
which I think is what most Iraqi would do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, relatively speaking,
so it's her behavior is subtle.
I think just grading on the curve of her society, she's way subtle. So her mutant gift, I guess it has to be enhancing the mutant powers of others, because she does act like a chorister.
I do have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cora's Arakko too, right? Iraqi?
Yes.
Does she know who Virta is?
No, and I think that's because Virta really is a kid.
Yeah.
So I think,
and I realize there's a lot of people at Arakko.
Yeah,
you would know everybody there, but I was just kind of curious about that.
That's a good question. I think because she is young and because Cora's been on Earth for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
And maybe Virta has some other mutant powers as well. I can imagine that having a power-enhancing power wouldn't be very high status on Arakko.
Yeah.
Right? They were starting
maybe that's the subtleness is here.
Could be part of that too.
Yeah.
We know, back in X-Men Red, which would have been 10 years in the past from this story in universe, they were kind of starting to work on powers working together, but it was still kind of a foreign concept culturally.
Yeah.
So in a scene later on in this book, we see that when Apocalypse's son Death dropped by to scold Doug in issue number 1, he also secretly delivered something to Elbecca, like a capsule, an ampule. I went back to see if I could see it on panel in issue 1, and sadly, it wasn't drawn in. I would have really loved to find one panel with 2 dots I could point to and say, oh, there it was, but it wasn't there. At least I couldn't find it. Anybody else finds it, let me know. So we jump to the present day. Revelation has a funeral for Fabian Cortez. Remember, he thinks that Cortez killed himself after being punished by having his ambition taken away. Now, we know that Cortez died because Elbecca kicked him down several flights of stairs repeatedly. I don't know how you could kill yourself by dropping yourself down one flight of stairs, then walking across the landing and knocking yourself down another flight of stairs. But
Yeah.
I guess there's no crime scene investigators there in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Also, not a very well-attended funeral, just revelation in the choristers. I'm going to say that Dougie just doesn't want to advertise very widely that he just lost yet another chorister.
Yeah,
I think
but
that would look bad.
How many friends is Fabian Cortez really going to have, man?
Good point.
It's not like that dude's got like his crew rolling deep that are going to show up and pour out.
Right. This isn't like Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, any of that kind of
exactly.
stuff. It's Fabian Cortez.
It's Fabian fucking Cortez.
Now, I kind of felt bad about him briefly,
Yes.
but now I know I was wrong to do that. So here at the funeral, Doug commands some vines and plans to wrap around Cortez's corpse, and this is a location that will become important. Because sometime after the funeral, Albeca returns to this site and plants that capsule from Araco among those vines and plants wrapped around Cortez.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the idea is that Doug's ability in the plants and Cortez's kind of lingering mutant power is what activates this thing, I guess? Is that what you got from it?
The like dagger thing that comes out of the vines. I don't know. I just felt like maybe this pill was like a self-growing knife, which you gotta be able to find knives around Araco, right? Like I kind of was like, she could have armed herself. Like I don't think she needed this capsule.
I'm going to guess it's like some secret magical Doug piercing knife of poking. I don't know, but something special.
It has
I'm going to guess it has some power it drew because she had to go to this location to plant it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess there's some mutant power in it as well that way. Mm-hmm. It's very Krakoa looking.
Yeah.
So Albeca takes that magical dagger, goes to Dougie's private chamber, still playing innocent. They talk for a bit, which we can skip most of that. But Dougie does say one thing I think we need to poke at. Talking about his mission, he says, my first attempt at the X virus didn't work. It didn't spread fast enough. Didn't infect strongly enough. I needed something to increase its virulence. So have we seen that two-stage process, Ruben? Have we seen the virus start, not be good enough, and then get stronger?
No, it hasn't really been spelled out anywhere. This is kind of new. It just made me think, though, that, at first, some of the, especially in like Cloak and Dagger, or Cloak or Dagger, whatever it was called, they talked about how so many people were dying. It was like 1 in 10 survived. So I kind of thought like, well, maybe, and then more recently, we've seen all these like superheroes conveniently not be dead. Okay. I was like, okay, well, maybe this is just sort of showing you that version 1 just kind of like spread slowly and killed everybody. And then version 2 is what has been
more mutants.
Made more mutants, has been pushing the border more quickly, more aggressively.
Okay. As a no prize answer, I kind of like that. I would have liked to see that more on panel. Like if this is going to be one of the big reveals, I think that 2-stage virus action would have been good to actually find out about before now.
Yeah. I mean, this is like year 10, right? So
yeah.
It kind of like spread only to the Mississippi River in 10 years, right? So it is kind of slow acting, and yet his goal is to like infect the whole planet, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got to have like a better version than what is currently out there.
Dougie says that what he used to pump up the virus is Technarch biomass. Quote, I consumed Warlock, my best friend, converting him into the initial outbreak of the X virus. So I guess by saying initial outbreak, this isn't like a recent thing that's powered up the virus. This was what we consider the outbreak of the virus, I think was the Technarch powered one. Mm. I just want a little more clarity on this. Mm-hmm. Oh, and he's telling why is he telling this to Albeca anyway? I know he's really just telling us because we readers have to know. A little bit of, I think, doesn't make a whole lot of sense that he would reveal this to Albeca. He also says, Doug says that Warlock was okay with this being consumed.
Well, here's my explanation for you.
Yeah, go for it.
He's telling her because he knows that she's a double agent. Like, he doesn't seem surprised by the very end, right? He seems to have been like, yeah, I knew Apocalypse was going to send somebody. I thought it was probably you.
It's kind of played both ways. Like, either he's surprised or he's not. So that could be part of it. I'll buy that.
I kind of think he's surprised that she attacked him, but
trying to draw her out.
Yeah, but he's trying to draw her out.
All right. So I'll take that.
Because he's trying to get Apocalypse there so he can, like, I guess, absorb Apocalypse as well.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that at the end for sure.
Yeah.
But here, when talking about Warlock, he says that Warlock kind of, gave consent to be consumed and made into this virus. Mm-hmm. And Albeca said, well, of course he agreed with you. That's your mutant weapon. which is a really excellent, efficient line here by McKay because it does two big things.
Yeah.
First, it points out that maybe Warlock didn't really agree to be consumed like this, like a Technar giving tree. Maybe Doug accidentally or intentionally commanded him to agree, and that's what Doug does. Really reminds me of the Purple Man situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you're so powerful that people just naturally do everything you want them to do, you never know who's actually going to like you. Or I guess Empath
there's
was
no
that way too, right?
consent to anything. Yep. Everybody just caves to your point of view.
And the second thing this line accomplishes is it has Elbecca give herself away for sure by using that Iraqi-coded phrase, mutant weapon, which Dougie absolutely picks up on that.
Yeah.
So we get a fight here for a bit. I like how the panels kind of tilt this way and that to underline the chaos. Always a nice effect. Doug does get slightly wounded by that vine dagger.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to monologue mode to talk about his true plan, essentially the same plan that Psylocke revealed in Amazing X-Men 2 weeks ago. We do learn that Dougie was specifically inspired by Ego the Living Planet. He says that he was caught between Apocalypse's driving belief in survival of the fittest, that the weak should die so the strong can live, and Doug's own belief that the strong should protect the weak, because, among other things, he was killed off pretty early.
Yeah.
So the way Doug squares that circle is to come up with a way to roll up everyone on Earth into a singular fittest life form, composed of everyone from the weakest to the strongest, so that the strongest can survive and the weakest are okay too.
Yeah.
Ruben, what do you think of that little bit of logic there?
I kind of like it. I mean, he's kind of insane. So it's sort of like the most insane idea, but he was
bonkers,
wrestling.
Yeah.
He was wrestling with this. And I kind of like the idea of like, oh yeah, he's a computer hacker. So he was able to hack the Avengers files to learn about Ego. And he was like, oh, this seems like a great idea.
I buy that he could do that hacking. For me, it's still the Ebenezer Scrooge problem, Christmas Carol, right? If any version of that you watch, you have to buy the transformation of Scrooge from the beginning to Scrooge at the end, right? The actor really has to sell it. Whoever's adapting it really has to sell it. I'm still not sold that Dougie, who seemed like perfectly reasonable, sane Dougie in like X-Men 19 and X-Men 20, maybe X-Men 23 or 22, whatever it was. Maybe then he was kind of hiding it. But X-Men 19, he still seemed like a really totally sane guy. So I'm having trouble buying that they're the same person. I don't really see the transformation.
Yeah. I could hear you saying that, but I think the art sells a lot of it. Like he looks very calm at times and rational, and then he just goes like berserko and angry.
Put a lot on the transformation that happened to him when he became the heir of Apocalypse.
Yeah. For me, at least, I still think that Apocalypse really messed him up with something. And
of course, maybe we're not even in the same universe, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this Doug is not the Doug from X-Men 19, in which case, I have no complaint left. But we still have to figure out what that's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the action. Doug orders Elbecca to stay, but this doesn't work because he called her Elbecca, which isn't her real name. So she gets up and stabs him in the back anyway. Which this is a rule we have not seen before, right? He commands people when he doesn't even know their names. But calling her not by her legal Iraqi name doesn't work? Would nicknames work? What are the rules here? It seems like this is a rule made up on the spot for one scene, which that always bugs me.
Yeah. I think maybe it's the fact that he used the wrong name, not that he has to use the right name. It's that he kind of screwed up his little spell by naming a different person.
Maybe if Elbecca really existed and this wasn't her, this was somebody else, I'd buy that.
I think if he was just stay down, that would have worked.
Yeah,
black text, stay down. I think that it's just that he said Elbecca, and she's like, "No, I'm not that person."
But I mean, she knew who he was referring to, right? It's like, oh, I thought you meant somebody else. She knew who she meant. So I think the way his power works, if you know he's talking to you, the power should work.
Yeah,
a little bit cheap.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. It doesn't really do anything, right? Like he gets stabbed and then
it just extends the action a little bit.
Yeah,
gets him wounded. Maybe this more grievous wound is going to play a part going forward, because that is what happens here. He had gotten kind of slightly wounded, and now he got stabbed in the kidney pretty good.
Yeah.
But her main goal was not to kill Dougie. It was to plant a seed that'll grow into a gate to bring Apocalypse to Earth, and that was also what's now happening back at Fabian Cortez's, funeral. So that was a success, even if the assassination bit didn't quite work out.
So that little capsule had two things. It was a dagger and then
Right. It's dual
portal.
use. It's like that. Is it Excedrin that has like acetaminophen and caffeine? Right. It's one of those pills, dual action.
Yeah.
So now we find out, as you mentioned earlier, Ruben, that Dougie's plan was all along to goad Apocalypse into invading, which it's not super clear what this is for. In my head, I'm saying, well, he needs more mutant energy to kind of kickstart his ego the living planet plan.
Yeah, he needs some good ones.
Yeah, he needs like big batteries if we're going to be like the Matrix. These mutants from Morocco are like highly charged batteries.
Yeah.
And he wants to do this quickly because he's worried about the limbo forces from Providence trying to take him out. He's worried about the humans in the remains of the USA, although they do not have their shit together at all. So I don't know why he's worried about them. He doesn't know he doesn't mention anything about Mr. Sinister. So maybe he's not worried about Mr. Sinister anymore. But yeah, he wants to speed things up so that it happens before they get him.
Yeah. Maybe he knows that Sinister's dead.
Yeah, we don't know how long ago that was because no one knows the timeline.
You know who I didn't see walking through this portal?
Who was that?
Laura Kitty's kid.
That's true.
I was looking. I was like, Apocalypse was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to Earth." Okay, I guess he said, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna stay here and cry."
That is one difference on the final page of this issue compared with the final page of Amazing.
Yeah.
In Amazing, we only see Apocalypse and Charles coming through. In this, we have a different angle. We can see that there's a bunch of other Iraqi with, weapons behind them. So this is an invading army, not just dad's angry.
Yeah.
So I think this was an okay chapter. I had some complaints, but Ruben, I think you've explained some of them away a little bit better than maybe I would have. And this is going to wrap up in 2 weeks in X-Men Age of Revelation finale, and we'll see if Doug's wound actually matters or if they're just going to forget about it. So I gave this a 7.8 out of 10. Not amazing, but a pretty solid book. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very close. I was in the 7.5 range, and I'll just kind of stick with that. I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed reading the issue, but a lot of what I struggled with was what Rebecca really was planning to do.
Okay.
And the point of the knife in particular. I guess maybe her only task was to open the portal, and she just being an Iraqi and being a psychopath, she wanted to like
a stretch goal, like they say on the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Right? You get the extra bonus collector's card if we get to this. But really what they're after is just opening the gate. But
if it had worked the way she had planned, I guess Doug would be dead, and then Rebecca would be like, "Oh, I took care of it. Now I want some sort of elevated role within Iraqi society."
Out of universe, from our perspective, we know that the reason the dagger was in there was so there could be a fight scene in this issue. Because otherwise it would be just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that's really why it was there. But, well, again, I'm very curious to see if that wound to Doug's back is going to be brought up again, or if that was only here for this action scene.
Yeah. And Doug killed a kid, which I guess now you really have to hate him. But I thought Rebecca was kind of a psycho anyway, so I don't have that much empathy for her death.
A lot of kids not surviving this week, huh, Ruben?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's move on to Omega Kids, number 3 of 3, written by Tony Fleece, art by Andre Genole, colors by First Fuentes Sujo, and letters by Travis Lanham, which is, another they all kind of die at the end title. Ruben, what do you want to tell us about this book?
Yeah. Do you want me to go back and try to set the stage? I mean, I guess the gist was...
Big ideas.
Yeah, the gist was, we know that Quentin Quire had trained a bunch of kids to help enforce or protect Revelation throughout the territory. And they were going around doing psychic mind scans of the populace. And if they detected seditious thoughts, they would intervene in different ways.
And by intervene, sometimes that was just killing them.
Yeah.
And sometimes if they were only kind of just sort of related, maybe thought some positive thoughts about people who weren't that great, he just like erased the memory of someone's grandkid from her mind.
Yeah.
But mostly they would kill them. But the rule was, we don't kill innocent people. That was his hard and fast rule.
Yeah. And so Quentin Quire, being the kind of cocky, overconfident character that he is, thought that he was well in control of the situation. The kids were following him. And he actually thought, they're a little bit screw-offs. And he was a little proud that they were figuring things out. So he thought, oh, look at my great teaching. I am educating these kids on how to use their psychic powers. In reality, we found out that these kids felt like they were they had surpassed the teacher, and they had put him in a psychic prison of his own, and they were just hanging out on the astral plane.
Mhm.
And they had even implemented like I don't know what you call it, but like an automatic routine.
Yeah, like
A psychic relay program is what it's
psychic
called.
subroutine. How about that?
Yeah. So where they didn't have to actually actively search out people, they just kind of had their brain passively scanning people and just killing everybody that had bad thoughts.
Yeah, it's the little blonde girl, Bailey, who was the extra creepy one who was running this.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really a cool idea that Quentin thinks he's the cool teacher. He thinks he's way better than Charles Xavier ever was because, the kids really respect him and look up to him. But
Yeah.
secretly, they think he's a schmuck. And they're not entirely wrong. And I was really confused the past couple issues, maybe intentionally confused by what is reality and what was inside the psychic mindscape.
Yeah.
And we get some clarity on it this week. Not entirely, but we definitely get some of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bailey is running. She doesn't even want to put the work in. She doesn't want to do the hard work of finding each person, reading that person's mind, making a judgment. She just wants to hang out and have like a little part of her brain go from person to person to person and check them out. But because she's a little psycho, anyone who's ever had a negative thought about Doug, about Revelation, they're guilty and she kills them.
Yeah.
But it's a 1-by-1. So it's like, I don't know what order this list is sorted into, if it's like you and social security number. But if you're at the top of the list, you're already dead. There's a bunch of corpses already piling up all around Philadelphia.
Yep. Yeah. And so meanwhile, we had seen Quentin get a visit from was it Phoebe? I don't remember which cuckoo it was. Yeah. One of the cuckoos visited him. And then later he visited Rachel Summers. And it seemed in his mind that he was just kind of moving on from that. But in reality, it looks like once he visited Rachel, I guess Phoebe was never actually there. So it was just a figment of the
that whole
Omega Kid's imagination.
In issue 1 was all in his mind, all a creation of the Omega Kids.
Yeah. And Rachel was really there in the Revelation territory, just passing through. And I guess he had a conversation with her, but he never actually left her apartment. He was just kind of frozen in place at that point in time. And then he thought he was going on some secret mission to like bust a big group of dissidents, like a rebel group, like a rebel meeting. In reality, it seems like the rebels actually were there, but they had been instructed as to like where Quentin was. And so they show up at the apartment and he's like still trapped in his mental prison.
Yeah, it's like the mental thing that they're trapping Quentin in. She based on reality. So the rebels he saw are real, but not in the places he thought they were. And he wasn't really acting against them.
Yeah.
So as it opens up here, he's been found by the actual rebels. And they're really taking their sweet time to decide to shoot him, aren't they?
I know. It's extremely convenient. They find this guy that they know is like an extremely powerful psychic who has the ability to kill them. And they just sit there and point their laser pointer rifles at him and question what they should be doing. And then they start talking about how people are dying all around them, right? Then some of them start to die, right? And what's really going on is they're being killed by the Omega Kids subroutine. But you would think that they would think this is Quentin or something. Yeah, they would. I'd start pulling the trigger if I was one of the guys with the laser gun.
If you're on this mission to come get Quentin Quire, you've got him.
Yeah.
Do something. It's weird that they get to this point and then they start, getting all, sophomore philosophy class.
Yeah. So anyways, I think they try to make sense of this by saying something like, we don't know what's going to happen if we kill him. Maybe then we all die. But doesn't matter because then the real Rachel Summers shows up and she kind of fights the rebels and helps Quentin snap out of his mental trap.
Yeah, and so she grabs Quentin. I can gather her rescuing Quentin. That makes sense. But she kills at least a couple of the rebels in the process. Which she's been saying bad things about Doug, about Revelation. She's not full on. She's not Team Dougie. So
I know, it's a little weird. I can see her destroying the guns.
Yeah.
But why do you got to torch the people? You could just say, look, Quentin's a good guy. It is hard. He doesn't deserve to be executed.
Yeah, I've got
your
guns,
say
she is the Phoenix, but she is very Phoenix-y. There are ways she could have saved Quentin without roasting these people alive. But it looks cool on the page.
She definitely is powered by the Phoenix, even if she's not, capital the Phoenix.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyways. So she flies him up into the air and then basically says, hey, everyone's getting killed in the Revelation territories by your kids. And Quentin actually seems a little proud of that, what's going on. He's like, oh, they actually are, using the lessons I taught them. That's pretty impressive.
Right.
They're just a little misguided.
He wants to take some credit for them being as strong as they are, even though they are creepy little creeps.
Yeah.
He does confirm that this honors class are the only Omega kids who are actual psychics. The others are just your basic informants. So that's interesting, because we've been kind of complaining about that, wondering why we don't see Omega kids in other books.
Yeah.
It's just there's a difference in branding. Who are the Omega kids and who are the honors class of the Omega kids?
Yep.
Which, okay.
Yeah.
So now
then
Quentin
she
goes,
reveals that
go
Phoebe
ahead.
didn't actually visit you, that was just like a psychic trap. And then he decides he's got to go deal with this problem, right?
Mhm.
No, I guess not all the rebels were defeated. As I look at this other page, they're kind of like seem to be recovering. So it's kind of, the art's a little bizarre, right? It really looks like she torched everybody, but they seem to be getting up from the rebels seem to be getting up from
the main
a few
guy,
of them.
Yeah, the main guy with the pink dragon wings, he does say that we lost 2 men.
Yeah.
So 2 of them are dead.
Okay.
And he's like the main guy. We see him again later.
Yeah. So anyways, he's leading an assassination attempt on Revelation. And I think when they found Quentin, they thought, oh, here's a chance to get 2 birds with 1 stone. But because they don't have Quentin, they're just going to go forward and try to take out Revelation anyways. And so then Quentin decides that he's got to go
get the kids. This is his mess to clean up.
Yeah. So he goes into a psychic battle with the kids and demonstrates that he is actually, and he's got Rachel with him helping, but that he's really the Omega, and he defeats them.
Is really the thing.
Yeah. So I won't go into the details of the fight, but basically he defeats them.
Yeah, I think we should say that the way he defeats them is by conjuring up images of a bunch of other X-Men. Basically all the X-Men, even like old school Cyclops and Logan and Storm and all the classic ones. So they think they're being attacked.
Makes it they're being overwhelmed by like way too many people. Yeah, exactly.
And they have never been in a stand-up fight like this before. So they freak out, and that's when Quentin is able to kind of trap him, shut him down a little bit.
Yeah. And then I'll cut to the end and then go back to the other scene. Is basically after that, he starts to reprimand the kids, and it kind of seems like he's going to give them another chance.
Yeah.
And then he's like, just kidding. And then he kills
he
them.
Just cold-bloodedly shuts down their brains just with like a smile.
Yeah.
Really creepy. Really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we promise we'll be better. We'll listen to you this time, Quentin. So he kills them all, and then he tells Apocalypse, we're going to need another Revelation. We're going to need another batch of Omega kids.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty brutal.
So
then on the other hand, the other story, and these kind of like flip-flop in the issue, we've got the rebels that are going to try to do the assassination attempt on Revelation, but they get stopped.
Well, he doesn't really kill them all. He goes up to the one guy, the Dragon Wings guy with the mustache, who's about to take the shot, and he's talking about how Quentin's own anxiety has gotten in the way, made him not be the teacher he thinks he can be.
And he just gives it to them.
He puts his anxiety into Mustache Dragon Guy.
Yeah.
And then he starts, apparently it's a lot of anxiety, because that guy just starts rolling around on the ground. Then Quentin takes his gun away and breaks up the gun. But as far as we can tell, he doesn't arrest the rebels. He doesn't murder the rebels. He just stops the assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Which maybe some of that stuff happened. Maybe off panel, they all get arrested and killed. Who knows? But we don't get to see
Or
that.
they've just got crippling anxiety and just die because they can't function.
Could be.
Yes. But anyways, the Omega kids are dead and the rebel assassination attempt is stopped. And that's sort of it.
Mm-hmm. So I give Tony Fleece credit for killing off these kids. I guess, again, we're in an alternate timeline. These kids are brand new characters. Might as well kill them off, but very cold-blooded to do that. Quentin Quire confirmed to be a psychopath, for sure. I did like the capital Omega at the end. We don't get the end. We don't get a fin. We just get Omega.
Yeah.
But that works. I'm going to call this a 7.3 out of 10. I thought some things could have been explained better. I thought it had some good creepy bits, but overall, it didn't have the weight I was hoping this series would have. How about you?
Yeah. I'm in the same ballpark. I would just give it a 7. It was, wrapped up the story. It maybe did a decent bit of kind of showing who Quentin Quire is as a person.
Okay.
That he's really not trustworthy. And even as a, more mature, grown-up version of him, I kind of liked that. But it's kind of a completely unnecessary story. I don't think there's anything in this that is really going to inform the ending of this Age of Revelation.
Yeah. And I think a lot like Book of Revelation, the big twist that came out in issue 2 was kind of what this book had to do. And then once it revealed that twist, it just was kind of playing out the string to an ending that was more or less what it had to be. Like whether or not he kills the kids, we know that Revelation is not getting assassinated in this side book. So it went where it had to go. It was probably one of the better of the tie-in books, but nothing essential. Okay, moving on to Rogue Storm, number 3 of 3, speaking of inessential, The Gallows and the Executioner, written by Morewa Ayodele, art by Roland Boschi, colors by Niraj Menon, Fer Cifuentes Suho, and Rochelle Rosenberg, at least 2 of whom have blocked Jim on Twitter. Letters by Travis Lanham. So this is another really odd story told completely out of order. And, Ruben, sometimes when a story is told out of order, you can tell, oh, that's because there was this twist they didn't want to give away at the beginning, so they had to save it for the end. I don't think this story had to be told out of order. It kind of feels like Ayodele wrote out the whole script for all 3 issues at once, but then, tripped on his way to the fax machine. And all the page, he just, whatever, I'll just fax them like this.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I contrast this with New Avengers, where I feel like the out of order sequencing is designed to hide key details of the story, which then are revealed, which make you take a fresh look at, prior scenes that you had seen.
Right.
And Hawksbox did a great job of that too, right? Where, you'd read it and then you'd read it from a different perspective and you'd be like, oh, that really changes what was going on in this first scene that we saw. My perception has totally changed. This is just, rearranged to annoy you. I hate it. It's terrible in my mind. This story could have been told in a straightforward linear way. And it's a big kind of balls to the wall crazy story. I kind of probably would have liked it better. I would have been like, oh, this is so wild. I can't believe all these things are happening. But nothing is gained from it.
But exactly. It's just confusing.
Resequenced.
So one thing very different about this issue, a whole lot less of those wacky ass sound effects, right? We had got a bunch of those in the first 2 issues. I don't know if an editor had a word with them in between, but they toned that way down. There is one bit I like. There's one bit where characters fall into the water. We see them from below the surface, and the splash sound effect is upside down.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool, but, I think having one cool sound effect is enough per issue, where it's been way too many, but it was toned down here. So I don't think we need to go through this page by page. I'm going to lean heavily once again on the House to Astonish blog, where Paul, thank you, Paul, he actually wrote out the plot in order, which I would have taken a lot of effort to figure out. So, for the whole story, what happened first was back in pre-Age of Revelation, Storm defeats Egon, that, magical horror guy, turned him into a marble, swallowed him whole, and then she barfed him back up and fed him to Maggot. That's what made Maggot Omega Man. Sometime after that, probably early on in the Age of Revelation, Egon escaped from Maggot, Storm caught him again, swallowed him again. But this time, Egon made Storm's powers run out of control, so the Storm engines, we still don't know where those Storm engine kaiju robots came from. The Storm engines grabbed Storm, chained her up in the Sahara Desert to kind of minimize the impact of her weather wackiness. But then, 5 years into the Age of Revelation, Rogue Red and company get through the Storm engines, and Rogue Red absorbs Storm's powers, thinking that'll put an end to all that wacky climate stuff. But this allows Egon to escape from Storm. And also Akujin, who's that multi-armed person here who's a stand-in for somebody who's not allowed to be in this book. Akujin was in on the plot with Egon all along, was secretly responsible for engineering this mission so that Egon could escape. I don't know how that worked. I really want to know what the connection was, who Akujin is and how she's connected to Egon. But that's what happened. Once Egon escapes, Rogue Red and the rest of that crew are all killed by Egon and Akujin. Rogue Red fades away into nothing like she got Thanos snapped. I don't know why. Maybe because she's a copy, not the real Rogue. Did you understand that at all?
No.
Oh, me either. Okay, moving on. But anyway, Storm's back to her old self, and then she spends years running around hunting for Egon and searching for weapons and power-ups like she's in a video game, and you can't fight the final boss until you find all the power-ups.
I mean, can I say the thing about the Rogue Red and Green? I think maybe Rogue Green is different because she didn't absorb Miss Marvel's powers, which I think is what gave her the flight and the strength and all that. But it seems like she still has like the absorption powers, or at least in this issue they revealed that she could have, right?
Yes.
So this idea that like she needed these brass knuckles to be able to fight made no sense to me. I'm like, along the way, she couldn't have just gotten her powers from some other source.
Yeah, it was almost those brass knuckles were just, they need an excuse to have a friendship scene between the two ladies.
Yeah.
And also that when she got dusted, when she faded away, those clunked down to the ground for emotional purposes. But it didn't really make sense.
It's just bizarre to me. Like this idea, because she was like, I'm unpowered, I don't have strength. So I'm like, dude, you still got your power leeching abilities. That's a pretty dang powerful
You'd think so.
set of skills, right?
But she's dead now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So Storm wandering the earth like Kane in Kung Fu. This is when Dr. Voodoo's ghostly brother's hanging around with her. And this is when Gambit comes and finds her. In this issue, we learn that Gambit finding Storm takes place after Unbreakable.
Okay, I'm going to be annoyed. Sorry, I haven't gotten over Rogue Red. Why didn't she leech Agujin's powers? Because clearly Rogue Green was able to leech Galactus's powers.
I don't know.
Anyways, sorry.
Don't know.
It pisses me off the way this is done.
But for timeline purposes, Gambit does say that Rogue Green is back when he goes and finds Storm.
Mm-hmm.
So which I'm going to take as confirming my theory that Hotaru is really dead, because this definitively puts Unbreakable well before Amazing X-Men. So if he only had one mortal life left and then he gets stabbed by Logan, he's definitely dead.
He's dead. Okay.
He's dead for sure.
Another dead kid.
Mm-hmm. More dead kids this week. It's dead kid week. Merry Christmas, everybody. So 6, 7, at least 7 dead kids this week. And it's not even Tim count. Damn it. Not even acknowledge that. So Storm and Gambit, they do go and find Egon, the big bad magic guy. Storm traps the two of them inside a spell called the Sands of Nisanti, which is a Doctor Strange kind of storm. We've seen it before. It usually lasts 1 to 3 minutes and traps people in this magical world where they can't use their magical powers.
Mm-hmm.
But because Storm is the bestest wizard who ever wizarded, instead of lasting 1 to 3 minutes like the Sorcerer Supreme could do, Storm's going to make it last a whole hour, except that I think Nisanti himself dies inside the battle inside the spell. So I think Storm and Egon are trapped inside the spell forever, and she's off the board and he's off the board. Is that what you got from this issue? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I agree that they're in this spell. I don't understand why they would be there forever and why Egon can't just kill her and then exit the spell.
There's this bit where there's a character we've never seen before who is kind of holding an hourglass, or like it looks like a boggle timer to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that character gets killed by Egon, and I think that traps them. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's still ongoing. I don't think we know what the outcome is, because at the very end it says ends, but our story continues at X-Men Age of Revelation finale.
So you think maybe Storm will be back in the finale as well?
Yes. And
could be.
And I'm really annoyed about that, because I don't think this story needs to be concluded.
Yeah, I don't want this to end like every damn event where all the characters come together and save with the power of friendship. We don't need that. We don't need our buddy Chris used to call that the Care Bear stare, where everyone the power of friendship would get together and win. It doesn't have to be everything in that way.
Yeah.
But while this is happening, inside that spell, outside the spell, guess who's back? It's Rogue Red.
Yes.
Why does she come back into existence?
So that Gambit can have a twosome with his clone wife.
I guess a 2.5 some. I don't even know how that counts as if they're clones. I'm not going to Google that. But yeah, for no apparent reason, Rogue Red's back. She pops back into existence and climbs onto the back of a motorcycle driven by her blind husband, which maybe they both die on the way back to New Orleans. Who knows?
I also like how he says,
can you ride a motorcycle from Africa to New Orleans?
Yeah, you can.
I guess so.
I like how he says, you need to get on my bike so you can be my eyes. I'm like, you drove
how did you get here?
Yeah, you drove this thing across the desert without any eyes.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So, like I said, I think there are the bones here of a decent story. The idea of, Storm fighting this big magical character, locking herself up, it escaping, her tracking it down again. Mm-hmm. That's an okay idea. But The multiple rogue thing, that's got to go. That's got to just be because two different writers wanted to use rogue in the same timeline, and editorial said, we'll split her in half. That cannot have been the original plan for either writer. That has to be an editorial thing.
Yeah.
We need to explain who this Akujin character is.
Yeah.
And we need to tell it in a way that makes sense, that I don't feel like I'd have to print everything out and cut it up and put it back in order. The art style, it's never going to be my favorite, but it grew on me over the course of the series. I am glad to see a book that looks different from everything else. I don't know if the second two issues were better than the first one, or if I probably just got used to it. I didn't like the first one at all.
Yeah.
But I think, again, in my mind, I'm still comparing it to the start of the Storm series that was drawn by Lucas Werneck, who is just like the best artist at Marvel these days. And what was he just announced on? He was just announced on another title. He's going to be on Captain Marvel. So I'll at least check out the first issue of Captain Marvel because he's going to draw. And I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that book for the writing, but I'm sure it'll look great.
Why did the Battle Beast start attacking her, by the way?
I did not. Yeah, the Battle Beast. Was the Battle Beast talking about the evil always winning? So was Battle Beast also secretly on Egon's side?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. So I'm just going to call this like a 5.3 out of 10. Some cool things in there, but the way it was told just made my head hurt. How about you?
I do like this art style. It's very playing card style. And I thought the fighting was kind of cool, but the story was convoluted unnecessarily. Like at one point we get this like rundown of who Storm is descended from, and I was like, what is this relevant to? Like this doesn't...
Well, that's just Io Dele making Storm just the bestest at everything ever.
Yeah, she's like descended from key magical figures. Is that the idea?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 because I think this is bad.
Fair
it looks
enough.
Cool. I think the story could have been handed to somebody else and presented in a better way, and I probably would have liked it more, but I just don't like Ideli's writing.
Yeah, so, Ruben, I think we're agreed that we're done with Io Dele's Storm for now. We probably won't be picking up the continuation.
No, it's not for me. It's for somebody, but not for me.
If you're a Storm lover and just want to see her be the bestest ever, here you go, but not for us. Moving on to something that at least originally was very much for me. This is The Last Wolverine, number 3 of 3, written by Saladin Ahmed, art by Edgar Salazar, colors by Carlos Lopez, and letters by Corey Pettit. So, Ruben, who is The Last Wolverine?
Logan.
Because I don't know. Logan is. Aren't there still other Wolverines around too?
Well, Laura Kinney's dead. She was killed by her son.
Oh, right.
And
Gabby maybe doesn't quite count as a Wolverine?
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
And Helverine is just Helverine. He's his own thing.
I think he was dead too, though. He was there on Araco and he got blasted. Oh,
he also got right. He also got everybody died there. I forgot. Another one of those everybody dies books.
And then Wendigo, he's still alive, I guess.
Maybe we'll talk
Uncertain.
about it. So what happens in this book?
Yeah. So we start out on the rooftop somewhere in Philadelphia, and if you recall, we had what's her name? Who's Heather Hudson?
Heather Guardian, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah, Vindicator, whoever the hell she is now. She's there with
Mrs. Logan.
Yeah, she's there with Kid Wendigo and Nightcrawler, and she convinced them to go with her to help allegedly free Wolverine, which to her meant killing him because he doesn't want to. He's a guy who doesn't want to be like under mind control because
that was the big twist last issue, that the way she has of freeing him is to just kill him.
Yeah, and so she has a what is the source called? Is it Muramasa?
Muramasa blade.
Yeah, the Muramasa blade, which
we don't know where it came from. She found it somewhere in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So it cuts you and it kills you, and you can't heal from it. And so Kid Wendigo is like, I don't want to kill Logan. So he's trying to like get her to disarm, and then before they get into a fight, Wolverine shows up. Logan shows up, and
there's a thing that happens before that is that Kurt's there, and he's helping to teleport them around. So
now he's like
Leonard is starting to lose control over the Wendigo side of him, because that's what the virus does in this book. Every book, the virus is a little different. In this one, it's preventing him from controlling the Wendigo side. So he's starting to like Hulk out a little bit too much. So that allows Heather to escape, and then Kurt's going to help them catch up by teleporting some more.
Yeah.
But we find out that Kurt has a heart condition.
Yeah.
And every time he teleports, he's kind of pushing himself a little too much, which we said in one of the early issues that, it makes sense that his wife, who I forget what her character's name is from the Uncanny X-Men book, she's totally cool with him going and being a hero because he's a hero. I think if she knows that he has a really serious heart condition, that really paints that scene in a different light for me.
Yeah, she just wants that life insurance money. They've got a really good policy.
Gonna have to fight his adoptive parents for not even fight his parents for control of that estate.
Yeah.
So that's everything set up here. And what's going to happen is, they're setting up a reason for pretty much everyone to die.
Yeah.
Oh well. So they eventually catch up with Heather. Logan catches up with them, like you said. We get a Logan versus Leonard fight with lots of, hey, buddy, I know you can fight this. I know you can break free of Revelation's mind control, which we know can't happen because he's totally under this guy's spell. And absolutely nothing, Ruben, nothing can break Logan out of being under Revelation's influence.
Yeah.
So Heather comes in and chops Logan's left arm off.
Yeah.
And what happens then, Ruben?
Well, he's suddenly back to normal.
Was it the arm chopping? He says, I recognize that scent. So it's just the smell of his wife
I think it's the extreme pain / injury and Miramasa
the
magic
combination
blade.
Of all that.
Yeah.
But he is 100% out. He was 100% in, and now he's 100% out in turn of a page.
Yeah.
Which is dumb.
Yeah. I felt like this arm thing was just a way for them to homage the Wolverine of Age of Apocalypse without the hand.
Agreed.
Except it's a little stronger.
The next time we do one of these is going to be all the way at the shoulder. So we get more Seraphim types show up, and Leonard tosses.
So Dragoness
Logan,
shows up. Yeah,
Dragoness. Right, that's who that is. A bunch of other ones as well, but including Dragoness. Leonard, echoing issue number 1, he tosses Logan off the roof, which Logan did to him in a flashback. But this is to save Logan. Now, Ruben, why would the Seraphim not find Logan at the base of the building? Because he kind of stands out, right? The one-armed guy with the claws.
Yeah, I think the idea is that throw him to the ground and then he heals and he can run away. And meanwhile, Leonard is going to fight
all the Seraphim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think one or two of them, like one of the ones with wings, could just go and get their get their main guy.
Yeah.
So Leonard lets himself go full Wendigo. Never go full Wendigo. He's like,
I'm also not sure why the Seraphim would think that Logan is not still part of their team. Because they show up and he's like one-armed, right? Yeah. Looks like their dude's been fighting and he's injured. You would think that they would
go help. Either go capture him or go help, but go and check out what the hell's up.
So maybe that's why they don't look. Maybe that's why they don't go look for him, because they're like, some shit's going down, and
right. He'll be fine on his own. He's the toughest one. He's kind of creepy. Wouldn't want to mess with him. Yeah,
and he's still part of our team. Guess. Like they don't necessarily know that he's snapped out of it. All he's done is like taking off the mask.
He does get like all the way out of the city though, right? You'd think. Yeah. Anyway, that's what's got to happen. Mm-hmm. So Kurt's end is that he teleports one time too many, heart explodes.
Yeah.
Heather's end is that she's fighting the Seraphim and it's taxing her suit too much, and we don't see her die, but she's either going to get cut down by the Seraphim or the virus is going to get in and get her.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yep.
Leonard wants to give Logan time to get away, so he goes full Wendigo, starts eating chunks of Seraphim.
Yeah.
So either they're going to kill him or he's going to totally give in to his inner Wendigosity and his mind's going to be gone.
Yeah, he seems to have... I don't think he's going down in this fight. They don't seem to be keeping up with him. He bites off a dude's arm.
Yeah, they'll either have to send in a bunch more to kill him, or he's just going to be a mindless beast.
I think he just runs back to Canada.
Could be. So at the end, we see that Logan has escaped, and I guess Logan's going to be part of the finale, because once again, we get next Age of Revelation finale with big picture of Logan. I was not expecting him to really matter that. And we see him surrounded by all the people he wants to get revenge for. Well, there's Dougie at the top, revenge on Dougie, and then all the people who Logan's kind of responsible for killing. So that's Magneto, Angel, and Zorn, and now also Heather and Kurt and Leonard. So more people that Logan's going to feel guilty about before this timeline gets undone. But I guess that was the assignment for this book. Was the purpose must have been get Logan to the finale with one arm. That had to have been editorial mandate.
Yes, with one arm and able to fight Revelation.
Right.
Yeah. So funny enough, my sister gave me some Funkos for Christmas / my birthday, which is coming up, nice. And she not knowing my actual feelings for Wolverine, she got me a Wolverine Funko that's like framed around the 90s X-Men comic book as like the backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks very cool, but I kind of laughed. I was like, oh God, you know that I like comics, you know that I like X-Men, but you do not know my feelings about Wolverine.
It's always hard when you're really into a subject or a topic or whatever, then people try to get you gifts for it when they're not going to know as much as you do. And it's always great that they're trying. But as I'm a teen nerd, people who buy me tea are not going to buy me the tea I would get just because I'm way too nerdy for that. But you appreciate that people are making the effort. And you've sent me a picture of that. It does look cool. It makes a cool display.
Yes. I've got to send you a box of Twillings. I know you love tea.
Yeah.
Stash.
Even when I was into beer. One time I for beer, they knew I was into Belgian beer.
Yeah.
And they got me Stella Artois, which is just, it's Bud Light, but from Belgium.
Yeah.
But again, people try to get you things that they would like and you appreciate. That's what the holidays are all about. If I really want beer or tea or you comic books, we can buy them ourselves. But it's nice when people are thoughtful then.
Yeah.
But let's wrap up this book. Logan's going to be in the finale, I guess. Most of him, one arm left behind.
Yeah.
But we've seen him kind of fight against Doug's control, and it took the smell of his own wife and the loss of an arm, but he's back. And I really, really loved the first issue of this. I wanted more of that lighthearted, late silver, early bronze AG Leonard as Wolverine. Really loved that. Would still read a full-on miniseries just set with Leonard doing superhero-y things early on in the Age of Revelation.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that. This issue, it's a little bit of a disappointment. It was never going to be what I wanted it to be. I think that some things were just a little too convenient to get to the end. I'm still going to give it a 6 out of 10. Probably too generous, but
No, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's 6 out of 10. At least it does something, right? Like, if we're reading, I could see this one-armed Wolverine showing up in the next issue in the finale, and if I hadn't read this side story, I'd be like, what the hell happened? Where did his arm go?
Gotta go back to those back issue bins, folks, and figure out what's up.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the last Wolverine, and now it's time for our last issue, which is Radioactive Spider-Man number 3 of 3, written by Joe Kelly, pencils by Kev Walker, inks by Cam Smith, Wade Von Grawbadger, and Elisabetta D'Amico, colors by Chris Sotomayor, and letters by somebody, but I didn't write down who that was. I'm just going to say it's I don't know. My apologies to the letter. I didn't write it down. I didn't find this final issue entirely successful, but I do appreciate that Joe Kelly is trying to do something interesting. And I continue to read this series as a meditation on dealing with a parent suffering from dementia or a parent at the end of their life. Joe Kelly's trying to get at some serious stuff here. Granted, since this is the Marvel Universe, that dementia-suffering, dying parent turns into a literal man-eating Lovecraftian horror, but, that's how it works in these comic books. The parental figure in this story is, of course, Aunt May, whose name I will never forget, and at the end of the previous issue, she saw Gwen Stacy, Ghost Spider, who's the Gwen Stacy of Earth 65, and Aunt May freaks the freak out because she knows full well that Gwen Stacy is dead. Right, famously, Amazing Spider-Man number 121, whole tossed off the bridge situation. So the plot of this issue is all about what do you do with a crazy, rampaging, monstrous Aunt May. We start off with a flashback showing that Dr. Octopus helped put his former fiancée, Aunt May, into that stasis chamber we saw her in. A nice little detail. Also, we see the beginning of Miles being angry at Peter for his focus on May when there's kind of a lot else going on at the moment that Spider-Man might be helping out with. Objectively, Miles is 100% right, but you can see how Peter would be focused on what he's focused on. The rest of the book flips back and forth between the present day, with Spidey leading Monster May through town, and then we get past scenes of everyday interactions between Peter and Aunt May, with her teaching him about life and death. And I found these flashback scenes, actually quite effective. The modern day action doesn't have much to do. There's a bit I thought was lame where Joe Kelly has to paint the bad guys as super, super fascist just so that when Aunt May eats them, we think it's funny rather than sad. So that was kind of lame. Ultimately, Spidey leads May to a lab where he hits her with 10,000 rads of radiation. It's spelled out specifically. And I looked up what 10,000 rads of radiation is. And Ruben, it's a lot.
It sounds like a lot.
It's equivalent to 100,000 simultaneous chest x-rays.
Okay.
100 rads is likely fatal. 10,000 rads, instant death.
Yeah.
And Ruben, did you expect that Peter? I was expecting Peter to die at the end of this issue. He doesn't.
I kind of feel like he does.
You think he does?
Maybe not instantly, but I assume that she's
the next page.
She's still pretty radioactive.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah.
If you hug somebody that's been like dosed that much, it's like hugging a plutonium stick, right? It can't be good for your health.
Yeah. Like early on, Cecilia Reyes says to Miles, "The man you knew isn't coming back." Yeah. Which I thought that meant like he's not coming back, he's going to be dead. But I think she means like he's going to be changed by this experience.
Yeah.
Because at least in the moment, maybe the next page we don't get to see, but in what actually is in the comic book, he kind of holds up a metal door in front of himself.
Yeah.
Which apparently is enough. He does have a few last touching moments with May, who returns to human form as she's dying. And yeah, she remembers being with him when he was just a kid, and also talking about wanting to see him grow up, but also wanting him to stay her little kid forever. Yeah. Which, if you're a parent, that's gonna hit you pretty hard.
Yeah.
Just saying. And the final panel we get to see is May dying in Peter's arms. So, Ruben, what does this book have to do with the Age of Revelation?
I don't know.
Not a damn thing.
Yeah.
Right? This is just an alternate future Spidey story that has some metaphorical things. I don't know if Joe Kelly himself is going through some stuff related to this, but whether or not he is, I think this is a pretty good alternate future Spider-Man story. As I've said before, it is the best Spider-Man story we're getting these days. So, folks, if you're not loving Amazing Spider-Man, caught between Earth and cosmic stuff, here's 3 issues you might kind of like.
Yeah, definitely sad. My reaction to this is a really good story, but I didn't want to be depressed, and it made me very depressed.
Yeah, it is. It is a serious, sad, makes you think about real kinds of things stories. And Ruben, I go to comics when I don't want to think about reality.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I'm going to call it the best book of the week. I'm going to call it 8.3 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I liked the Age of Revelation better because I'm here for the Revelation story, but I see how you got here. It is a very touching, moving story. I'll go to 7.5, and then just say that I picked the one that I preferred.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And when I report these back into corporate, I'll just lower all these down by 2 full points, just to keep us safe.
I mean, it doesn't matter what I score it. Jim's going to call me Mikey, so that's fine.
Ruben and Jason, they'll like it. They like everything. They're like Mikey.
Oh, well. Oh, also, I had one other thing that Jim said. Let me call that up. What is the other thing that Jim had to say to me this week? And I don't know why he would tell me this. I think I might need to call HR, but he said,
"And I have a very moist mouth."
Why would you tell me that, Jim? Why do I need to know that? But anyway, that's between you and HR. Between us and the listeners, Ruben, let's talk about next week. Next week is the last of the multi-issue weeks of Age of Revelation, with the following week just being the one big old finale. But next week, we wrap up Expatriate X-Men, we wrap up Cloak or Dagger, we wrap up X-Vengers, which, maybe we'll talk about that, and we wrap up Undeadpool, which I've been a little disappointed with some of the issue 3s. I'm hoping that 1 or 2 of these really hit in their issue 3s. My recommended reading, how about some background on Ego the Living Planet? Because that's apparently who's inspired Dougie through this whole crazy event. Ego's first appearance is in... You have any idea? Any guesses what book Ego would have first appeared in?
Is it something called Avengers Strike File?
It's in Thor. He was a Thor villain.
Interesting.
He was in Thor number 132 from 1966 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. He's a very Jack Kirby kind of character. And that's very early in Thor because Thor takes over the Journey into Mystery numbering. So the first issue of Thor is 126. So this is just 6 issues into that. And then later on, Ego's backstory is revealed in Thor 228, written by Jerry Conway in 1974. And then Ego's backstory gets modernized in Ultimates. Is it pronounced Ultimates Squared? I don't know. Ultimates with a 2 by it. Ultimates 2 number 8 in 2017, written by Al Ewing, in a very, very Al Ewing continuity deep dive kind of story. So if you want to know from Ego, the Living Planet, it's Thor 132, Thor 228, and Ultimate Squared number 8. And then you'll know all you need to know about Ego, the Living Planet, who, despite what the movies tell you, is not Star-Lord's dad. Okay, Ruben, so we are heading very quickly into the Christmas, the definite actual days of Christmas. It'll be Christmas Eve tomorrow. So when our lovely listeners are maybe wanting to spend a little time away from family, what can they do with their lives?
Read more X-Men comics.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't need it. He hates everything.
And I have a very moist mouth.